my miscarriage, it was really fucked up. So I kind of want to talk to you guys about, you know, planning a pregnancy, getting pregnant, having a miscarriage, and then actually getting pregnant again and navigating specifically my first trimester into my rainbow pregnancy. There was a lot of PTSD, anxiety, and trauma associated with the miscarriage that went into my rainbow pregnancy that I personally was not prepared for. It's like, let me just take this real quick. So I took the pregnancy test this morning by myself in the bathroom. I'm pregnant. So, you know, I go out, Corey works from home, so he's in the living room on his computer, and I'm just like, I'm pregnant. And we're very happy. He's like, why you take it without me? And I'm just like, I don't know. You're planning it with your partner, and you're super involved with your partner through the whole process. But like, just as a woman, sometimes you just want to take it by yourself. Like, you just want to see what your body's doing, and you just kind of, I don't know, have that moment. So I just had that moment where I took my pregnancy test by myself. So I definitely want to vlog this journey. I don't even know if I'm going to use this actual clip, but I wanted to just get in the habit of talking on a camera and vlogging the whole process, like what's happening during my first trimester. To be completely honest, like, I'm terrified of something bad happening. Now, I don't know where I'm going to put this video in terms of the vlog. I don't know how I'm even doing this fucking vlog. I was doing a pregnancy vlog. Now I'm talking about a miscarriage. Today is 10 days since I had a miscarriage. I'm going to take a pregnancy test to confirm that I don't have enough pregnancy hormone in my system to detect. I do have a doctor's appointment that I decided to keep in like 2 weeks that I'm going to, but I don't know, like, I'm just, you know, curious to see if the pregnancy test still says that I'm pregnant 10 days after my miscarriage. I do feel like my symptoms are like pretty much gone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Ariana Bay. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back. I know I don't give you guys that much to look forward to. And if you're new to my channel, go ahead and subscribe if you are interested in seeing more mommy to be content, because I am pregnant. I am 17 weeks and 5 days. I'm into my second trimester, and I've been wanting to do a story time for a long time about my pregnancy journey. So originally, I thought that I would be vlogging the whole experience. I always planned to document my pregnancy planning journey as well as like my entire pregnancy, just for something like to have as a keepsake, as well as to share on social media if I felt that was appropriate. But throughout recording and planning the pregnancy, it just really didn't pan out that way. I had a miscarriage. Experiencing the miscarriage was not something that I felt comfortable really documenting, but I did make some videos because I understood that it was important for me to talk about what I was dealing with. This is my first vlog video since having a miscarriage this week, and I would say I'm very impressed with how I've been handling myself this week and managing my mental health while dealing with the miscarriage, processing it, physically processing it, mentally, how it's affecting, you know, my relationships, which I feel like it kind of has in a positive way with my partner. Definitely has brought us closer together and validated our decision to start a family together. I feel like I've been very like big on not taking it as a personal attack, because even though miscarriage is not something that women talk about very often, it's just very common. And I don't take it as a personal attack on my desire to be a mother, and I don't take it as my body betraying me. I've decided to trust my body's decision to have me and Corey wait a little bit longer to be parents. It's like easier said than done. So it's a decision that I made because it's either that or
constantly thinking about like well, what if that didn't happen? You know, we had doctor's appointments planned, scheduled baby shower date. You know, we were planning this, and we were fortunate to get pregnant on our first cycle of trying. So that was really exciting, but something felt a little bit too good to be true. That's not why I had a miscarriage, but it definitely kind of just feels like it's all part of the journey. Like, women really deal with a lot, from getting off birth control, from being on birth control to getting off birth control, to planning a pregnancy, to getting pregnant, to no longer being pregnant. So it's just like a lot of different information and a lot of different feelings. And aside from that and being mentally strong and aware, it's your hormones, because your body is going through a lot. And I never really even considered the physical pain and discomfort that comes with a miscarriage. I more so was thinking about, you know, psychological and emotional and things like that. So it's definitely been a very trying week. But I decided to keep pushing. We're hopeful. We're going to have a baby. I honestly believe I'm going to be pregnant relatively soon. I'm trying to let go of those expectations, though, and those plans that you have, because nothing is solid, nothing is guaranteed. But at the same time, like I said, this is not a personal attack on me. This is something that women deal with, and it's almost like just like part of being a woman. You deal with things like this, and you have to keep pushing. So I'm not going to spend too much time being sad. I do want to allow myself time to heal and to grieve the loss of what could have been, but I don't want that to deter me from my goals. I'm feeling sad. I feel like the last few days I didn't really allow myself to feel sad. I wanted to make sure that I didn't get caught up in some sort of spiral of depression and sadness. So I just felt like my mental strength now, being the woman that I am now, I was better equipped for something like this to happen mentally, and I have the support. I'm going to reclaim my power. You know, like, I'm not going to allow something that was out of my control to negatively affect me. I'm going to try and stay positive and be hopeful, and I will keep you guys updated.
When experiencing having a miscarriage, it just kind of solidifies how taboo the topic is for women to talk about. And then when you look into miscarriage and how common it is for women to experience, it kind of made me wonder, why is this something that is so taboo for us to talk about? Because pregnancy in itself is an isolating experience. It can be a lonely experience, no matter how much support you have, no matter how supportive your partner is. It's a really personal journey. So I feel like with experiencing a miscarriage, it was such an isolating experience. And then you look on the internet or you speak with a doctor and you find out that 1 in 4 pregnancies result in early miscarriage. You know, sometimes miscarriage happens so early that women aren't aware that they are pregnant. But when you're planning a pregnancy, you can realize you're pregnant, you know, before you're even 4 weeks pregnant. And if you have a 4-week, 5-week, 6-week, 7-week miscarriage, you're going to be aware of that. So for me, I had a miscarriage when I was 6 weeks and 3 days or something like that. I had been planning it. So the effects that the miscarriage has on everyone is different. For me, my miscarriage, it was really fucked up. And I do feel like I found a lot of comfort online. I have an app called Flow that I use to track my period when I got off birth control, as well as my ovulation, so that I can plan my pregnancy. And then once you become pregnant and once you're utilizing the app, you have access to discussion boards and things like that. So once I experienced my miscarriage, I was able to connect with women online who experienced something similar. And it was crazy the amount of women who experienced these exact same things that no one talks about. The first time I ever experienced like envy was probably after having a miscarriage. And what I actually learned was, you have no idea what a woman has been through to become a mother. So when you look at a woman and you see her children, or you see her having a baby, or, you know, celebrating at a baby shower, you don't understand what went into her journey to become a mother. It was an eye-opening experience just about womanhood. The majority of the women that I have shared that with have also experienced a miscarriage, whether it was in their 20s or their 30s, or when they weren't trying or when they were trying, or I actually have someone close to me who has experienced reoccurring miscarriage. And I think for reasons like that, when I experienced my miscarriage, I almost like invalidated my trauma and my experience with it. Just understand that it's something that happens to women. It's not something you can really prepare to happen to you. As aware as you may be of miscarriage being a common thing that happens, when it happens, there's nothing that can really prepare you for dealing with that. It was a glamorized thing to plan a pregnancy. And it's something that I didn't consider, that you can have a miscarriage. And it's not about thinking negatively. It's just literally a fact of what there's a possibility may happen. So I think that it's important for more women to speak about that. I wasn't comfortable talking about it until I was into my second trimester of my rainbow pregnancy. And that's something that I always knew, just because I was very easily triggered. And I recorded some videos, just a couple, because I wasn't really in the mood to record and things like that. But I recorded some videos during the miscarriage, like during the process of having a miscarriage. And when I watched them, it made me cry just because it was triggering to kind of relive that. So I just feel like I kind of have a social duty to the women who are experiencing something like this, or who are looking to plan a pregnancy and are unaware of, the things that may happen. I just think that it's something that as women, we should normalize talking about a little bit more. There's so many women who want to share their experience with others who can relate, so that we don't feel so alone. So, story time. I started planning my pregnancy at the beginning of this year. I had one goal for this year, and it was originally the goal was to get pregnant. Then the goal became to get pregnant with a viable pregnancy and make it to my second trimester. I got off birth control in the middle of February. I've been on the new ring for 3 years. Got into a relationship, and since I did want to plan my pregnancy, I decided it was just best to stay on the new ring until I wanted to get pregnant. And I got off the new ring in February 2023. My cycle returned in March 2023. And then in April, me and my boyfriend went on a trip to Belize. And for me, that was like we travel a lot, and we understood with planning a pregnancy and with having a baby, we just were unaware of how often we would be able to travel, whether it be internationally or domestic. Our priorities were just changing. So we wanted to take one last trip. So we took a vacation at the end of April this year, and then I got pregnant in May. So I got pregnant on the first try, which is like the first cycle I was able to get pregnant, first cycle of ovulating, we did get pregnant. So some things that I did to prepare my body for pregnancy, I've always been pretty aware of my fitness and my nutrition, but just being extra intentional. I did want my BMI to be a little bit lower. With the pregnancy, to be honest, it was more of a vanity goal originally, but after experiencing a miscarriage, that is a factor. Being overweight and things like that can contribute to your chances of experiencing a miscarriage. I'm not saying that's why it happens. I'm just saying that is a factor. So eliminating or decreasing caffeine, alcohol, tobacco, things like that. So I don't drink a lot. It's funny, I'm a bartender. I was a bartender, but I don't really drink a lot. I don't really enjoy drinking. I don't like hangovers is kind of the main issue with drinking. And it's funny because if I had to explain what pregnancy feels like, it was a nonstop hangover. So I did cut back on smoking. I don't smoke tobacco. I do typically smoke marijuana. I have not smoked during my pregnancy, but prior to being pregnant, I smoked marijuana less than usual, but it was through a bowl or through papers. So no tobacco. Prenatal vitamins. I started taking prenatal vitamins. I think I actually started taking those like 2 or 3 months before I had even really wanted to try to get pregnant. It's just something that honestly, a prenatal is a good 1-a-day vitamin for any woman looking to supplement different vitamins that our body needs if you're not getting it through healthy eating, which can be kind of difficult sometimes depending on your lifestyle. So those are some things that I did to prepare my body for pregnancy, as well as just becoming aware of what it takes to get pregnant. It's not about having a lot of sex, it's about when you have sex. So just basically trying to understand when I was ovulating. I used the app called Flow, and I did end up buying the premium option, which I think was like $70 for the year. And I was so annoyed when it came on my bank account, but I love that app. It has seriously been a wonderful tool for me navigating family planning, as well as navigating my mental health during my miscarriage and then getting pregnant again, and just staying up to date on the baby's development, as well as symptoms and my body's changes during the pregnancy. So I would recommend downloading an app to track your symptoms, track your periods, just become more aware of the symptoms that you're going to experience when you're ovulating, because it can be different for everybody. I didn't buy ovulation kits or ovulation tests when I was planning my pregnancy. It wasn't something that I felt like I needed to do. And then I actually got pregnant really fast. So they weren't needed for me. But I was aware of when I was ovulating based on the app, based off my personal symptoms. So yes, with that being said, I got pregnant in May, and I found out I was pregnant in May, and then I miscarried in June. I got pregnant again in August, and I found out I was pregnant on September 1st. When you look at that from May, June, July, August, to becoming aware that I was pregnant at the beginning of September, just thinking about the physical changes that my body alone has been through with, getting off birth control, cycle returning, getting pregnant, not expecting a cycle, having a miscarriage, having a cycle. It's been a roller coaster for me. Like, basically, I guess I'll say the summer was crazy. I think for me with miscarriage, something that I was not prepared for at all was, aside from the mental and emotional loss and grieving what was supposed to be and what could have been, was the physical aspect of it, and then PTSD that I experienced not after the miscarriage, but when I got pregnant again. I woke up one morning, and the thing about it is when I was pregnant, I'm like, I was excited, and it was like feeling too good to be true, and I'm just like scared that something would go wrong. And I know that's really common. Like, women feel that way when they're pregnant. I decided one day, like, girl, like, people have babies every day. Like, you're gonna have this baby. It's no big deal. Like, good things are happening for you. Like, stop worrying. And then I woke up the next day to go to work, and when I went to the bathroom, I was miscarrying. I was 1,000,000% sure that I was experiencing a miscarriage. It was painful. And I think that I was so wrapped up in disbelief, like, this is actually happening. I knew this could happen, and it's actually happening. And then, the cramping. I think I had a migraine for 8 days. Like, my migraines originally, and I have chronic migraines. I've been getting migraines since I was 8 years old. I have a prescription for Imitrex. If you have migraines, then you might be aware of what that is. So it's something that I've dealt with my whole life. But headaches are one of the symptoms in pregnancy because of the fluctuation and the increase in hormones. And when you have a miscarriage, you have a decrease in hormones really rapidly. So migraine was one of the constant reminders that I was having a miscarriage. And I say it was a constant reminder because, aside from dealing with the emotional loss of the pregnancy, it was the physical pain that I also had to deal with. So like I said, the cramping was really painful for me. I don't typically experience period cramps. So for me to experience miscarriage cramps, it was like, damn. Nausea, headaches, cramping. I had to send my boyfriend to the store to get me pads. I have not used pads in I don't know how long. And that alone was like triggering, because I wasn't supposed to have a period for a long time. Like, I had not planned on getting pads or tampons or anything like that. So the fact that I needed to send him to the store to get pads, that alone hurt. But something that kind of made me feel better was when he went to the store, he came home and he brought me flowers, and he got me a rainbow bouquet of flowers. And he was not aware of the term rainbow baby or rainbow pregnancy or anything like that. So I felt comfort in that. Like it was kind of like, I don't know, I was being sentimental, and I felt comfort in knowing that he, without being aware of the term rainbow pregnancy and rainbow baby, that he picked out rainbow flowers. And, you know, soon after the miscarriage, we did get pregnant with our rainbow pregnancy. So that was comforting for me. My partner was very comforting for me. But there's a point after your miscarriage where, you know, you may think you're doing better, and then you don't realize that it's going to come in waves. So the wave of that first next period, which was a very heavy period. And medical professionals do recommend that you wait like 6 months before trying again. For me, there were some things that I wanted to do before I was trying again. And those things being, I wanted to take a negative pregnancy test, because you can ovulate as early as 2 weeks after a miscarriage. Some women who are actively having sex, they think they may be pregnant, they take a test and it's showing as a positive. Their previous pregnancy, when they miscarried, it's those hormones that are showing a false positive. So I wanted to test negative, not just because I was going to be trying again soon and I wanted a positive test, but I just wanted to make sure that my body did what it was supposed to do. I didn't go to the ER, I didn't go see a doctor or anything like that. I actually have a really good relationship with my body. I do trust that my body was making the correct decision, because it was not going to be a viable pregnancy. I did not feel like something was wrong with me or my partner. If you've ever heard that women should wait 12 weeks to share with anyone that they're pregnant because of the high chances of miscarriage, which I kind of feel like it's really up to an individual on whether or not they want to share their pregnancy news. And I do wish that that stigma was kind of taken away, because it does create that isolation that I was talking about, that so many pregnant women have to deal with, the feeling of being alone and isolated during their pregnancy because they're not supposed to talk about it. And for me, anybody that I told I was pregnant was someone that I was prepared to tell that I miscarried. Most uncomfortable person being my Pilates instructor. Like, I wanted to tell her I was pregnant just because I wanted her to be aware. And she was someone that I had been going to at Solid Core. I've taken her classes for months, so it was just like something that I was excited to share with her. I wanted to let her know in the upcoming weeks that I would be needing to use some modifications, or I may have to leave to, you know, use the restroom or something like that. I just wanted to share it with her. And I actually stopped going to that location for a while because I just felt so like uncomfortable with letting her know I was no longer pregnant. It is what it is. Like anybody that I shared the news with, I was ready to share the news that I was also dealing with a miscarriage, because you need support, you need your people. It doesn't make sense to me to not tell anyone you're expecting and then also go through the emotions of a miscarriage with that secret. It's a heavy secret, it's a heavy load. So you appear to be normal to everyone. Like for example, going to work, being pregnant, not sharing the news with them just yet, and then the next week going to work dealing with the miscarriage and had not shared any news with them about that, and being, you know, expecting to be yourself. It's a burden really, and it's a lot. So I do wish that there was a more of a balance on early pregnancy and women, and you know how we navigate. I think that it might not be as devastating if there weren't so much like secrecy and negativity surrounding the word miscarriage. What I've learned from experiencing my miscarriage and just from speaking with more women and joining online communities and things like that is that so many women go through so much shit to become mothers. And that's prior to becoming pregnant. Then once you're pregnant, it's a whole other challenge. And I feel like everyone has a different experience. Like there are women who have easygoing pregnancies and mild symptoms and easier deliveries, shorter, quicker labors, things like that. For me, my first trimester was a living hell. Like, I don't feel guilty to say that. My baby knows how bad I want to be my baby's mom. But there was, like I said, nothing could have prepared me for the trauma that was going to come into my rainbow pregnancy. So experiencing my miscarriage in June being aware that it was my body's, I trust my body's decision to get rid of that pregnancy, prepare my body for another pregnancy and things like that. Of course, that's what I'm telling myself. That's my mental strength coming through. I have to claw myself out of dark spaces. I refuse to spiral into a dark space. So that's what it was. And that's, you know, way easier said than done. Every day was different. I mentioned that there were like waves of depression. That first period after my miscarriage it looked like a miscarriage again. And that was triggering. So the things that I was getting from my support system, like my sister, my best friends, and my man, there were times where it doesn't matter how good of a support system you have, they don't understand. And there's no one who's going to really be able to comfort you but you. So I definitely have been on a whole other level of a personal journey this year. I do kind of want to like track back to after my miscarriage. I did take a negative test, I believe 10 days after. I took a pregnancy test 10 days after experiencing a miscarriage, and it was negative. That's when I felt like my migraines had subsided, my cramping was gone, the bleeding was done. I was feeling like myself again. I took the pregnancy test, it was negative. I confirmed that my body did what my body needed to do. I trusted my body's decision, and I was ready to move forward. I bought an ovulation test kit because I wanted to, you know, like I said, confirm that my miscarriage was finished. There can be an incomplete miscarriage, which can lead to different, you know, medical scenarios and things like that. So that's something that I was aware of. And I did take an ovulation test about 2 weeks after my miscarriage, and I was ovulating. And I had figured that I was ovulating because I had become aware of my ovulation symptoms. So being that I was ovulating, did I want to have sex and try to get pregnant that day? No. But I did want to know that my body was ovulating. So after that, like I said, the next month in July, I had a period. It looks like a miscarriage. You know, that this is not a TMI type of conversation because I'm just being honest. It was a really heavy period, and I feel like my body still had some detoxing, some cleansing to do. During this time, I had not drank. I had not had caffeine. I did start smoking again immediately because that was the only thing that was keeping me sane, keeping me relaxed, helping me sleep, dealing with my headaches and things like that. I did go back to my medicinal marijuana. July was my boyfriend's birthday, and we were celebrating, and I was, you know, trying to convince myself that I was happy with it, just, you know, back to me and him. Like I'm gonna utilize this time to just appreciate it just being us again, even though I was so ready for the two of us to be a trio. The positive like perspective that I was able to give myself was, you know, you just have more time, just you and him together now. Father's Day for me was a hard day, and that was in June. That was like a couple of weeks after my miscarriage. We were supposed to go to an ultrasound that day, so that was triggering. Also in June, I flew home. Yeah, that was in June. I flew home for my aunt's baby shower. Like it's so many reminders around you that you're not pregnant anymore. And for some people, you just want to keep living your life. For me, it makes more sense to push through. I was afraid of becoming depressed, and I was actually really impressed with how I handled my miscarriage, with traveling and doing all the things I said I was going to do, and, you know, still being happy and grateful for what I did have, and also, you know, not blaming my body, not blaming God, not blaming the miscarriage on anything, but that just wasn't the one. There are so many things in the process of becoming pregnant that have to go exactly right. And then even when things go exactly right, the sperm and the egg, like that has to be 100% perfect too, or it's just not a viable pregnancy. So yeah, so with becoming pregnant again, I got pregnant in August, and I went to Chicago for my birthday. My birthday is August 29th, and you know, I went to a restaurant, I got a dessert, there's a candle, make a wish. Today I made a wish, which again was, you know, I wish to enter motherhood gang. And I didn't know it, but I was already pregnant. So my period was 1 day late, And I'm like, all right, as soon as we get home, I was going to go bad test in Chicago. And I'm like also kind of scared to take pregnancy tests now because, you know, the whole ordeal that had just happened 2 months ago. So when we get home, I actually already had pregnancy test at home. So when we got home the next morning, I took a test without Corey. I didn't even tell Corey I was taking a test. I don't even think I told him my period was late. And then, woo, you know, we're pregnant again. That was really exciting. I was really thankful because to me, the solution to the miscarriage was to get pregnant again. I don't think I really factored in the emotional trauma that was going to come with becoming pregnant again. I did not sleep because I had insomnia and anxiety about, is this one going to be a viable pregnancy? I just wanted to be prepared for what could happen. But thank God, you know, I did not experience another miscarriage. It's just that every single time I went to the bathroom, I was afraid to wipe and see blood. The same bathroom that I experienced my miscarriage in, I think that was also triggering. I was so unbelievably sick. I actually ended up getting a prescription for Zofran. I lost 12 pounds from the time that I hit 6 weeks to 12 weeks. I had lost 12 pounds. I wasn't able to keep anything down. I was not able to go to work. Living in Atlanta, being so far away from my family and friends, you know, just having my boyfriend here, it was really lonely, and every day was really hard. And I was not just sick, you know, in the morning or in the evening. I was sick all day, every day for 6 weeks straight. I was hungry. I was vomiting. I was afraid that I was taking Zofran. You know, any medication, you cannot take ibuprofen. It's like I said, it's like a never ending hangover, except for me. I know it's different for other people, but for me, it was like, it felt like the worst hangover I ever had, but I could not smoke weed, and I could not eat food, and I could not take ibuprofen, and I could not sleep, and I could not take ZQL to fall asleep. It was hard. It was rough. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I thought that I would be one and done, and I've never planned on just having one child, but I did not see myself enduring and making it through another pregnancy. But then thankfully, when I was 12, 13 weeks pregnant, I was able to eat again. My nausea subsided. I do still get nauseous here and there. I can deal with that. It was hard to deal with, you know, a 3-day migraine. You can't take your Imitrex, and you can't fall asleep, but you can't smoke, and you can't take any ZQL, and you're very nauseous. And even though you're taking 8 milligrams of Zofran, which may cause a cleft lip, you're still throwing up the toast you just ate. And you lost 12 pounds, and you actually have not moved a muscle, so you are burning no calories and still losing weight. It's not, you know, people are like, oh, well, it's good you're losing weight, you know. No, it's not good you're losing weight when you're pregnant, trying to make a human and trying to get enough nutrients for yourself. Like, it was just a really trying 6 weeks of my life, and very thankful for my partner. I don't think pregnancy is something that should be put on anyone who is not prepared for it and does not want it. It's not for the weak, and it just doesn't make any sense that this is something that women deal with alone. I couldn't imagine if I had no choice. Like, if I had to go to work, I don't know what would have happened if I didn't have like a partner. Like, you know what I mean? So for me, my experience, and like I have said, this is why I chose to plan my pregnancy and wait and be with who I'm with and do it how I wanted to do it. Really wanted to be in a position to where things were ideal. And people say there's no perfect time to have kids, and that's not true. Like, this is the perfect time. Like, I want this now. Like, so for me, it was a humbling experience planning a pregnancy because it's out of your control. Like, I'm such a, like, I can plan something, I can, whatever I want, I'm going to get it. I'm going to give it to myself. Pregnancy doesn't work like that. It's like out of your hands. So I feel like for me, it was a lesson, just a very humbling lesson. And like, you know, it's way bigger than me. It's not something that I can say, okay, I'm ready for a baby and have a baby. Now, it could have went that way, and things do tend to go that way for me. But then there are also times where I learned big, deep lessons. You know, I do feel like I understand why some women choose to wait. And I can respect that. For me, I didn't want to wait. I was very determined to be a mom and have a baby and plan a pregnancy this year. And I did that. It just didn't look how I thought it was going to look. And it just makes me fall more in love with myself and more in love with my partner, and just be that much more grateful for this pregnancy. I just kind of wanted to share that experience because it's probably not what anyone expected, including myself. Like for me, when I experienced my miscarriage, I got a lot of hope, and I found a lot of comfort in hearing other women talk about their rainbow pregnancies and their successful pregnancies and their viable pregnancies after experiencing a miscarriage. So I really do hope that sharing my experience helps women feel more comfortable to talk about miscarriage and pregnancy planning and the difficulties of the first trimester. If you have like questions, or if there's like a topic that you would like to hear more about, or if you would just like to connect with me, if you have any questions like you want to talk to me about privately, like you can follow me on Instagram and DM me, you can comment on the video. I really am hoping to create some content with some resources. I have so much to say about planning a pregnancy and motherhood, and I'm really passionate about wellness and womanhood in general. So for me, I really feel like this is my jam. Like this is my area. This is where I belong. And I'm so excited to continue this pregnancy and be a mom. So yes, so if you want to follow me on my journey, go ahead and subscribe. And if you are watching this and you can relate to anything I said in this video, then I'm sending you love. I'm sending you respect. I have so much respect for mothers and women in general, and so much love for us and the shit that we endure, and how we continue to be resilient and still show up as productive members of society regardless of what we're going through physically and mentally and emotionally behind closed doors. It's like, it's unreal. Like we really deserve everything.